Hey, I'm Fred.
And I'm Ant.
And this is Create a Generation.
Create a generation of hype.
This is video 2 of our top tips from the best YouTubers out there. And that's because there were way too many to put in the first video. Once again, these come directly from the YouTubers themselves and include things like,
you have to be realistic about what it means when people say the just do it stuff. People are still nervous about it. But the reality is, who are you going to disappoint? Your 0 fans? This is very low stakes. So kind of get over yourself and do it.
So let us know in the comments which ones you think are the best. Let's get into it.
I know that people always think, oh, there's so many people doing this. Like with science content. Yeah, it might be a little tough to stand out in the space initially. So what? So what? That's like saying, well, like, oh, I'm not going to write this song or ever perform it because there are a lot of songs out there. Yeah, there are a lot of songs out there. It makes no difference. It's not like music has stopped because we got full. It's the same way with YouTube stuff. So you always do it differently. And we were talking the other day about this, about how you can do the same topic that other people have done. It's not going to be the same. You have to be realistic about what it means when people say the just do it stuff.
Yeah.
People are still nervous about it. But the reality is, who are you going to disappoint? Your 0 fans?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very low stakes. It's really about you. So kind of get over yourself and do it and go from there and figure out along the way what you like doing, what you don't like doing. You've got to get comfortable. We've all talked about stuff like the burnout and stresses and all of that for a long time now. Really helps when you know yourself at the very beginning. So that's a really important part of it. It's actually important to feel nervous about it when you make the stuff. Because then you figure out what to avoid, what to get better at, what to tackle head on. You've got to do that. It holds more people back than anything else. The people who are comfortable getting help with different parts, they're doing really well now. I can't say that some people don't who don't go for help are going to have a rough time because they're not having it yet. You know, it's sort of like looking at a stock price and feeling like, well, this stock's going to go up and this stock's going to go down. You know, I'm predicting the future here. But yeah, the ones who are extremely honest with themselves and open to working with other people in all sorts of capacities, whether it's trusting them to do a rough cut edit on your video, whether it's trusting somebody to rough up or even completely write a script for you. It could be on the business side, where we were talking this morning about how some people would rather have 100% of a small pie that they bake themselves than 80% of a massive pie that they got help with. So getting a mentality where you get comfortable with help, finding value in it to make your life easier, to make more money, or whatever it is, just something of value to you. The people who do that tend to be much, much better off.
If you want to grow on, in my genre at least, or maybe even now for most YouTube genres, Discord's the way to go. All YouTubers that I've talked to have most YouTubers that I've talked to have a Discord account. Animation also plays on a central kind of theme of evergreening, where when you make an animation, if you do it well, like what every animation storyteller should do, is make a story that's generalizable and applicable no matter when you view it. Because a video that you watch now of Jaden Animations 5 years ago, it's still as applicable and watchable today as it was 5 years ago. A video you watch about a commentary 5 years ago is talking about Leafy is here or something? I don't know, right? No one watches that. Yeah. No one goes back to watch that, really. Except like iDubbbz, but he's obviously a huge exception. But evergreen is like a huge component. And so when somebody finds a channel, they don't just stop at watching one because there's so little content. They watch all of it. And there's like data to back that up. People just honestly go back in time. And so with an animation storyteller or anybody who posts videos rarely, you got to make your catalog on your YouTube channel super succinct and really like appetizing. Like any video you can click on and we'll get good content, you know? Top 3 tips. I think number 1 for me would be just like patience, you know? I think nowadays, especially with YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all social media at our fingertips, our attention span has collectively dropped so much. But conversely, with YouTube, you need so much patience to really do YouTube, You put up one video and you're like, oh, I'm going to get like 1 million subscribers now. And then you don't. You put another and you put another and you put another. You put a year's worth of effort and you get nothing. And that's just the YouTube game. So YouTube is literally a marathon and not a sprint. You've just got to continue it for a long time. That's it. And going off of that, the second tip that I'll say is like, if you're going to spend a lot of time doing something, do it because you like it. There's so many YouTubers that I've met who are like, I'm just doing this for money, or I'm just doing this because it does well. And then they hate it in like 3 months, and it's like, well, why did you do that? Just like if you were going to a job and you hate cooking and you're going to work as a chef, it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? So stick with something you really enjoy, and it will, I know it sounds cliche, and it will feel like fun. It won't be like work. And lastly, don't be afraid to pivot. I feel like when people grow on YouTube, they feel stuck in their niche, or they feel stuck in their kind of what they're doing. They're like, oh, my audience expects this. And that's fine. Your audience will expect a certain level of niche, but you still can pivot out of it. Like Internet Historian's a great example. He initially started off with 4chan, Tumblr, like that kind of stuff. And now he's pivoting out into events, Firefest, and now games, Fallout 76. Like he's pivoting, but still maintaining the style. And I feel like that's so necessary as a YouTuber, to be able to understand that you can pivot out of your content as long as you maintain your branding and style. You can do whatever you want. There's more flexibility than you think there is.
My advice would be that any real opportunity is not going to be gone in the morning. So even though it is a very fast-paced industry, and it's definitely a moment that you want to be like in and taking advantage of like the momentum, just like take a moment, take a breath, and look into it. You don't have to make a decision. If someone's trying to pressure you to make a decision now, I would question their motives. This is funny because I feel like it's the advice that people give like brides on their wedding day, but also just take like enjoy it, because it's like, it is this like amazing, cool thing that's happening. And, if you find yourself on Ellen's couch, take a minute to be like, I'm on Ellen's couch. How cool. And like enjoy the kind of the process, I guess. And the third one, try to kind of stay true to what you originally set out to do. There's nothing wrong with like evolving and taking advantage of the moment. But, I think the more true to yourself you can stay when things go wild, like the better. And I think someone who's done that really well is like Celeste Barber. So she stayed really true to her kind of like style and her aesthetic, and has now worked with like amazing, she's now got the whole celebrity fashion industry like on board, and I feel like she's done really well not to kind of compromise. So
if I was to give tips for someone just starting out, okay, well, one, you need to make content. Some people just have so much difficulty making the content, but once you make the content, once your content is there, consistency, upload every week at the minimum in my mind. I'll upload once a month, but at whatever rate you do, maintain it consistently, because your audience is going to build an expectation and they want that expectation fulfilled. If you don't fulfill it, they can leave, okay? And so part of that expectation is the rate that you upload. Stick with it. First year, every single week without fail. And by the way, in the first year, I didn't make a cent, just to let you know. And I still stayed consistent every single week. And one of the other things I did is foster the community. Okay, and so how I did it was I replied to every single comment. But not only that, I commented on other YouTubers who are making similar type content, because they have an audience and they're very really interesting things. So again, foster the community, comment on other creators. And one of the things I did was I made reply videos, respectful reply videos. And you don't have to disagree to do a reply. You can say, I want to add to the discussion. And if you do a good, like a proper reply video, your video can be recommended right next to theirs, and they have a huge audience. And so I got some good boosts in the early days by making good, respectful reply videos. And that's, again, fostering the community. So
making sure that you understand yourself firstly, so understand your audience and understand what kind of content you want to be creating ongoing. Do your research, so make sure you understand who are the people working at those brands who actually have the say as to whether they will work with you or not. And then for longevity and repeat work, making sure that you deliver on the commitments that you set with brands.
Start. If you're trying to get into the game, just start. Like, get your phone out and just talk. whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about, just start and throw it together. There's cheap or free editing software. You've got a phone that has a high def camera on it. Just let it rip. So just start if you're listening. Give that a whirl. Learn the game is probably my second one. What does the algorithm demand? For us at the moment, it's a hungry beast, and it demands 3 videos a week. We try and hit above 10 minutes just to get that watch time up. So, learn about watch time, learn about click-through rates and what the algorithm does to, spread your content around. And then have fun.
It's a good one.
A lot of people just maybe forget to enjoy what they're making, and they're just, I want to be a YouTuber. If you're not enjoying what you're making, you're going to burn out and you're just going to disappear. So have fun, play around with it, find your voice, and then that's when it really starts being an amazing career.
Well, one of the top tips is to give yourself space between the things that you love, because otherwise it'll just become monotonous. Don't be afraid to burn out sometimes. Everyone does it, and then you just need to give yourself some distance. If you just push things too hard, it's just not going to be true to yourself, and you're not going to enjoy the process. And being a creator, I'm lucky enough to really enjoy what I do. So to have that ripped away from me by just burning out, I would be very sad. So I'm very conscious of giving myself time off every now and then, even though it's hard, especially if you're self-employed and you do what you love for a living. Give yourself some space. Just close your laptop, walk out the door, go hang out with your friends, go for a walk in the bush, just chill. That's definitely one major piece of advice. Also, if you see yourself doing this for a long time, don't ever compromise your integrity, because you will look back on it and regret some of the choices you've made. People want to work with you, or people enjoy what you do because of the way you do it. You've garnered your success from your ideas, from your mind, and from your personality. So don't feel as though you have to ever compromise on that. If you are feeling like you have to compromise on it, it's probably not the thing that you should be doing. And a third piece of advice, feel free. Well, this is very relevant to me because YouTube is not my cash cow. So I think it's also very important to step outside that lens as well, and think outside the box. And then a lot of those ideas that you get from being off the internet and from being in the real world, you can translate back to online content as well. But I think just as long as you're not stuck there just reading the comments every day and crying into your coffee, I think it's a good thing.
I would say tip 1 would be know why you want to do what you do. What is your drive? Whether it is to create relatable content, whether it is to make people laugh, or to, I don't know, some people are like motivational speakers on Instagram at the moment. I follow a lot of them. Know why you're in it and focus on that, because that is the work. Don't focus on, will this be good? Is this successful? Am I good enough? Because that's actually just taking time away from you refining your craft and your ability. And that's what you're here to do. And I think if you've got a drive to achieve something, then just focus on that, because that's the thing that's going to make you successful. Second tip would be support each other. Find your tribe, find the people who believe in you and you believe in them, and back them, because you need people around you. It's a creative industry. You need a brain to bounce off. You need a freaking, body to hug. You need support, because if you're in it for the long run, there's going to be ups and downs, and you need people around you who love you and support you and believe in you. It's the most important thing. And third tip would be give yourself time. Don't rush. When you're working on something, respect yourself enough to give yourself time to develop something. And because if you rush it, you'll miss things, you'll miss moments that, could take something from really good to freaking incredible. It's take the time, and give yourself the time. I think early on we rush because we think we need to get somewhere really quickly, and you don't have to get there fast. You just, when you get there, just make sure what you've developed or what you've created is the best of what you can do.
Okay, I think the first one is being consistent. Don't give up. Keep doing it, because you will get where you want to be. That is one. The second one that I've seen is the key. Interact with the followers, the audience, replying the comments, receiving ideas is good. And you want to say one tip?
I said this one the other day, but like, if you want to start a channel, just go for it. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if it's going to be good or bad, so just do it.
I guess the first tip I would say, show up. Just start making the content, and take out your own filter of stopping you from doing it. That's from my experience. When I first jumped on LinkedIn, making content on LinkedIn, people were like, why LinkedIn? And then I guess now I'm saying, why not? Why not trust yourself and just do it? So, this is a learning process as well, which is, if you keep making content, that first video that was so shit won't ever be seen. And always learn that you are always improving from that first video to the next video to the next video. I've made over 1,500 videos on LinkedIn. Wow. Yeah. So no one can scroll down to see my first video ever, because your computer will lag. So just, that's my tip if you want to get on LinkedIn. Just keep creating content, and support other content creators on there, because that's the algorithm. It's supporting each other. It's community. I've learned in my vast experience, like, intention. Have a reason why you're posting it. Yeah. Don't, yes, show up. Yes, make it. But always think, what is my mission with this button when I press it? Why? And then post it. Intention.
That's great.
Top 3 tips. When I was in high school, I had a mentor who taught me everything I know about photography, but she also taught me everything I know about making a difference. And she taught me from an early age, if you have a unique skill or talent or ability or platform, you have to find a way to make a difference in people's lives. And you've got to, find ways to do that publicly and privately, online so that you can set an example for others, but also offline so that it's not all about getting the cred. And I encourage creators to start doing that as early as possible, because the later you wait, the harder it is to start building that into what you do. And so that's the first thing is figure out a way to give back in a way that only you can. If you're a photographer, who needs photos in your community? If you've got a video skill set, who needs videos? If you are a communicator, how can you communicate about something that matters? Number 2, figure out a way that you can bring value to your community, not on social media. Figure out something, whether it's a print newspaper, or it's an email newsletter, or it's a postcard you send out every year. Figure out something that's going to be a little bit different than the rest of social media, and really build that connection with people who are like-minded. And don't just do it for your own personal gain. Do it to help people, and you're going to see way better connections with people. And then lastly, this is a little outrageous, and I don't know exactly what you would do with it at this present moment, but next time that you read an article about, the next Snapchat or the next Instagram or, whatever it is, like, maybe it's WeChat, maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's some dumb app that's like blowing up on the App Store. Try to do something really weird with it. Like, worst case scenario, you wasted 30 days. Best case scenario, you lose a contest to DJ Khaled. And so, use it as an opportunity to grow as a creator. Create is the core of creator. But if you're just doing what everybody else is doing on the same platform everybody else is doing it on, you don't have the opportunity to. It's a lot harder to create something new. And so Go somewhere else, allow your creativity to fly, and make something that you can feel proud of, no matter how dorky or weird it is.
Create a generation of hype.